Welcome to Engaging Truth. This is Dave Schultz, one of your hosts for this evening, and the other is John Cain, who has been with me. He reminded me that we've been on the air almost for 9 years now. That makes us old, John.
That's not all.
That's not old. But anyway, we are welcoming to the mic two special people tonight, and they're Lyndsey and Gina, two young ladies who are attending college full-time, working to supplement their needs. We're really working for the next 4 weeks, as we have the past week, on looking into the life of millennials to see how they think and how they react to life. And that's what we have in front of us this evening, is two millennial ladies who not only school, but they work. And I asked the question, aren't they entitled to more than full-time work in school? Weren't they promised it would be a little easier than this, maybe sometime in high school? In addition, God is being pushed back into to the back burner by the education and political environment in which they live. And they're being led to believe that God is just not that relevant to where they are going in their society and among the millennials who work with them. How can we keep all of this close together and still have confidence that God will never fail them? So welcome to the mic this evening, ladies. Lyndsey and Gina, welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
So I know this is not a good thing that you do all the time, being on the air, but Pastor John and I are going to make it easy, but you have something to say because you are part of a generation that a lot of us know very little about. And you and I have had some conversation on this last week, and we just thank God for the opportunity that you provide this evening. But I'm first of all going to ask you, Lyndsey, we talked about the life of two young ladies, and tell me initially, and then we'll go to Gina next. Tell me a little about your life, who you are.
Well, I was born and raised in Texas, and all I've ever really known is just have to do what I do to get to the next step and to keep pushing forward, because there's no sense in stopping after you've gotten so far. So I'm in school right now at university, and just working on the weekends.
What amazes me is that you don't seem to blink. You just seem to move forward, and that's the impression you give to me. And that is that you don't give up, that you see that nothing is going to be given to you, that you're going to have to work and move forward on your own. Is that how you think too?
Basically. We have a lot of support, and of course, we have God to help us push through, but nothing's ever just given to anybody. So I have to keep reminding myself, no matter how much I do, I want to quit a lot of times, but you can't.
Well, Gina, welcome to the mic tonight.
I'm glad to be here, Pastor.
Number one, we talked a little bit about you. Who is Gina? Have you lived here your whole life? Were you born someplace else? Tell us a little bit about Gina.
I wasn't born anywhere else. I was born right here, and
That's that.
that's that.
What I've noticed is I've noticed both of you that you didn't know each other until just a few months ago, correct? Or even a year ago?
In about 2 years.
Year and a half.
Year and a
We
half
worked together
ago?
for about 2 years, but we really started to get to know each other.
But all of a sudden you become good friends, right?
Very good.
There's something about what you do together, the way you think, has brought you together to make you a solid twosome, correct?
We think very alike.
A lot alike.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to ask you a little bit, Gina, to start with you, ask you a little bit about what we talked about the other day. You talked about being raised and how it reflects in your life. How is that true?
Well, my parents were always very strong and independent, and they really fought for what they got in their life, and now I kind of have it so easy. But I mean, they worked forever. Since I was growing up, they worked all the time, and so I mean, I had babysitters, and I went to daycares and everything like that, and I learned a lot on my own. But so it had its advantages and disadvantages. But
you said to me that your mom was incredible strength.
Yes, she was.
How is that?
I think it was the way she was raised. She had to be very independent when she was younger. So I think that really made her very strong, and she just brought me up the right way, I think. Very blunt, ruthlessly blunt, my mom.
Well, that's good because of the fact that you feel comfortable with that kind of behavior.
Oh yeah, I do, definitely. I'm just so used to her.
You don't need to be coddled to move forward.
No, she was never like that. If I got a boo-boo, oh no, she would be like, suck it up, like, you're okay. Or she'd just maybe like tease me a little and then say, you're okay.
So I'm going to turn to Lyndsey now, and then Pastor Cain has got some questions for both of you. First of all, we talked about how millennials get their idea of religion today. We were raised in Christian homes. We were raised for parents who didn't even think about anything else. But the crowd that you live with, the millennials, think about religion differently, don't they? How is that?
I think that even when we were younger, I was definitely raised to go to church every Sunday. I think a lot of us were. Then it became really difficult for our parents as well. We all had to start working more, and the cost of living got higher, start working more. So it seemed like you didn't have time. So I feel like now that the children that have grown up and kind of went away from the church feel like they have maybe a presence of God, but they kind of start making up their own sense of how he works instead of following religion. They don't believe in organized religion. So I think that's how things are made up these days.
Well, I'm a baby boomer, so I'm obviously older. And when we look at the age group of the millennials, we see something in you, in that you have more spirituality. And maybe it's not your age group that is quite as defined in its spirituality. Maybe it's more generalized, but you still admit it. You recognize it as a blessing, as a strength, as something that you rely on. Gina, what would you say is something, how would you describe to other age groups, how would you describe your people? How would you describe the age of the millennials? Is there a way that you would characterize yourself or your friends or people about your age?
She would talk about a week of, we feel like that we're more entitled to things.
Mm-hmm.
More entitled and more, we always have everything at our fingertips, and that's kind of what we're used to, and so we kind of expect that.
We don't get exactly what we want without even having to work on it. It's disappointing to a lot of people because they don't think, you have to actually work hard for it to get where you want to be.
Yeah, like my dad was telling me that he used to work for a jail counselor at a jail, and he was telling me that Alicia Keys' concert came in, and all of the correctional officers that were millennials all called in sick, and it didn't even matter that their job wasn't as important as the Alicia Keys concert.
Yeah, so didn't have quite the same dedicated mentality, yes, yeah. Or alignment with their jobs. That sense that you could always get another job, and you're not quite as true to it. So what would you say to someone who says that they're not in the organized church? Now, looking at the history of Christianity, I see the organized church as the one thing that has kept the church going for millennia, is that if it was just left up to an individual, it would have died out. But the organized church has been a blessing. It's had its problems also. But what would you say to somebody who says, well, I don't go to church, but I'm spiritual?
What kind of spiritual is that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would ask them more questions on that, definitely, and what exactly they believe is what, and then maybe inform them or, recommend to actually look into how it's actually supposed to be through organized religion. Because like I said, they may have fundamental values from religion when they were kids, but growing up they lose sight, or they use their mind themselves, they pave their own way. into what they think is allowed, what's not allowed, what would be okay, what wouldn't be okay. Trying to make excuses.
When I did some reading on this, because my grandkids are millennials. Some of my grandkids are millennials, some are younger than that. I discovered that less than 10%, and it could be very 10, 12, 15%, less than 10% of you think that the church is important. But on the other hand, Jesus is important. Help me with that. The church is not that relevant to where you are, but Jesus is important. Can you comment on that?
I've even gone through this before and even told myself when I was like 15 that church isn't how I'm going to get closer to God. Like, I would just have to listen to him. And I think that's how a lot of people, I figured out, along the way that that's not true. It's a whole different feeling. It's a whole different mindset. It feels more right, and you have, you get better advice and stuff going through a church. And it helps you think differently in life. And so I think a lot of people are scared to go back into like a church life instead of, because again, they're kind of giving themselves excuses, making them feel better for, I'm not saying they're horrible people either, just making them feel better that they're getting closer to God the way they want to.
Gina, what does technology have to do with the millennials? We had a conversation on that the other day briefly. Is technology part of who you are? And for me, an old guy, I have to be brought kicking and screaming into the technological world. Mm-hmm. But it's normal for you, isn't it?
Yeah. There's books online now. Books, paper. Everything is just at your fingertips, and it's online, and it's right there. And so we're kind of always on our phone all the time.
So it's part of who you are.
Yeah, basically it's been engraved into us. I don't know what the next generation's going to look like, but we're the easing into it part.
Well, you have pity on the older guys,
Yeah.
as you move into technology, and we say, oh, that's way past us. Lyndsey, what is money to the millennials?
Oh, money is such a big deal to millennials. Money is going to get, to millennials, money is the only thing that's going to get you where you want to go. And so no matter how you're going to get money, you have to get it. And they'll do anything to get it because money is what the world runs on these days. So honestly, it's such a big deal to millennials.
So how about community? What is community to millennials? Is it like-minded people, or is it people that you join just for an activity, or can it be multiple age groups?
I guess it depends. Once that you're a little older, it doesn't have to be a certain age group. To me, I don't feel like I have to be fit in a certain age group. Most of the people aren't my age. Younger, I think that it is, they stay with people that are around their age group. Community is less activities, I guess, unless they're in sports or something, but it's just more of who they surrounded by, what all they like to do, how they want to live their life, their lifestyle, basically. Depends on their lifestyle.
So when you look for quality in community, what sort of thing would be the hallmark of quality? And say, these are people that I want to spend time with, and these are not.
Oh, people that have a heart. I have a good judge of character, so when Pastor Schultz was saying that we became such good friends really fast, Gina and I, it's because, Gina, you can tell when somebody really cares about things, and when someone doesn't, they act like it, or they just up front don't care. So I think it's really the heart in people. Thanks.
What I have seen, and this, either one of you can jump into this, what I have seen among the people of the millennial world, not like you girls, because you seem to have a heart for people and things, but what I've seen is that there's a lot of self-centeredness among the millennials. In other words, me first. Do you sense that too? Is that part of your group, or do they become part of your life because you're different than that?
I think, how do I explain this? people these days, it just makes me laugh because people don't want to care. They want to ignore it. They don't look at it. They may be scared of it. They may not purposely try to ignore it, but most people put themselves first in front of others because they want to concentrate on themselves. They don't want to have to worry about other people, which in hindsight just isn't the right way to go. You don't want to get yourself involved in the wrong kind of people, I suppose, that can be influential in your life. But people these days really don't want to care.
Or they, like, pretend to care so much to the point where it's like their goals aren't the way they should be. They're kind of twisted. Like, they're not doing it for who they're doing it for. They're doing it kind of for themselves. So their mindset's a little off.
So I would sense that the people who you want to surround you are giving people, not taking people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's what anyone should want.
But it's not among your generation because it's me first. It's work to make money for me.
I'm an old soul.
Huh?
I'm an old soul.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you reconcile the real you into the world of self-centeredness, which really epitomizes much of the people in your generation?
You have to really think about the person that you are and who you want to be before you start thinking about who you want to be around. And I think people misconstrue that as I need to only focus on myself and not care about other people. So instead of just knowing yourself, knowing what you want, I mean, you get back what you give back, but it has to be something that you want to do without anything in return. You shouldn't expect anything in return from it. I think a lot of people, a lot of millennials especially, just want something in return. If they don't get anything in return, they're not going to go for it.
Ooh. I'd like to remind our listeners that you're listening to Engaging Truth. If you'd like more information about us, please visit our website, elmhouston.org. And from that website, elmhouston.org, you can jump off to our Facebook page and find maybe a video clip about tonight's story in a day or two. Also, you can go to our Twitter account and to our YouTube account by going to elmhouston.org. On that website, you'll also find a way to support our ministry. Pastor Schultz and I are volunteers in this. We're not paid staff. So when you support us, you support our ability to get the Word of God out in mass media, different ways to reach the world. If you'd like to drop us a line using the mail, please write us at P.O. Box 568, Cypress, Texas 77410. So we're speaking with Lyndsey and Gina. You are both of the millennial age group, and you have the opportunity now to speak to people your age, college students. What would you say to them? People that are involved in higher learning, they're trying to maybe learn things that will help them in a career. How do you help them balance what they know with who they are?
You really have to listen to your intuition of what you think is right and what you think is wrong. Some people aren't able to do that, and that's when you want to really surround yourself with good people. You don't surround yourself with good people, you're not going to take what's good and what's bad in your own thoughts, in your own heart. You're going to follow them. And so the best thing that you can do is think about who you want to be and be it. Don't tell people, you don't have to make it such a big deal. Just do nice things for yourself and it'll reflect on society.
So define for us who are nice people.
Nice people who are willing to give.
Okay,
People
givers.
that don't expect things in return.
So not self-centered as much as others-centered or truly caring.
Absolutely. Don't have the mindset that other people don't matter. Everyone matters. So I think that's really the biggest thing.
Gina, would you agree with that?
I do.
Both of you are, you go to school and you're working in an assisted living facility, so you're dealing with people of various backgrounds, various age groups, staff as well as residents.
I love it.
What is it that you love there?
I just love people. And what's funny is I don't even have that many close friends, I guess you would say, but I do love people. And no matter what background, because you can still find people with different backgrounds, different religions, even different religions, anything, and still find those good people that it's just great to be around, very refreshing.
And what do you get from their interaction, or do you learn from their experiences, or what is it that you gain, and what is it that you give?
You realize that you can't judge people for who they are, how they grew up. Their souls and their hearts are going to be how they're going to be, regardless of how they grew up or anything. So you're still going to be able to tell the good people, the good-hearted people, no matter how they grew up, and it's great. It's very refreshing.
How in the world did you girls get to be such good friends? Because you're alike? Gina?
We are very alike, but at the same time, if we're so alike, why? Like, I don't think I would get along with a good version of myself, you know? I don't know.
But you do, because she's different from you.
Yeah, we're still different. We're so alike in the same mindset and the ways we think, but we do have a lot of different qualities.
I think, one thing that happened a long, long time ago when you were a little girl, someone planted a seed of Jesus in your life. Maybe a mom, maybe a dad, maybe a Sunday school teacher. I don't care what it was. But somebody planted a seed, and that grew, and that became something that became part of your life. And as a result of becoming part of your life, you melded together. I'm just impressed when I see you together, because of the fact that although you're not exactly alike, you're very similar. And you benefit each other by who you are. Well, we're just going to turn this thing down in just a minute, but I want to say thank you that you girls were willing to come on the air with Pastor Cain and myself tonight to talk about the Millennials. That's a whole different group of people that we minister to and we talk to. Pastor John, would you kind of wind this down with the girls?
Yes, well, thank you again for being with us tonight. And we, as Christians, we look to our Lord Jesus, who has earned our place in eternity, and by his death on the cross, he has given us eternal life so that we don't have to earn it. We can't earn it. We are the recipients of God's gift. And being recipients, that means that since we don't have to worry about our own salvation, we can be those who reach out with Christian love, reach out to others, and try and make this world a better place, pointing everybody's eyes to Jesus. Join us again real soon for another edition of Engaging Truth. This is Pastor Schultz and Cain on elmhouston.org. Join us again real soon. Good night.